What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Michael Knapp Fishing, and welcome back to another Tackle Tip Tuesday Rod Arsenal video. Today we are going to go over jig rods. I actually have 5 different jig rods, so we're going to go over a couple of them today and how I like to kind of set those up and the jigs I throw on them. So let's roll that intro. We're going to dive into them. All right, guys, so jig fishing, you all know how much I absolutely love to flip and pitch and just throw a jig around. So I've got 2 different combos. I got 5 combos, but 2 different styles of rods in there. So we're gonna go over those 2 today. I'm gonna show you kind of the intricacies of them and why I actually have 2 different rods and reels for the exact same technique. So first up, I think is going to be the most popular one that everybody knows that I throw so much of, and that is the Lew's Pro TI combo. Everybody knows I love the Pro TI. This has been my baby for a really long time. So we'll just go ahead and start off with it. Now, this is the Gen 1 Pro TI. I haven't switched over to the Gen 2. I have the Gen 2s in the box, but I'm using those for like Magnum shaky heads and stuff. So I just haven't switched over. I'm comfortable with these. It's just what I keep using. 7:5 to 1 gear ratio. That's the only gear ratio you can get the Pro TI in, which is, you know, whatever. I would love to see a 6 gear ratio in it, but for jig fishing, this is perfection. And you guys know how much I love that purple. So 7:5 to 1 gear ratio, 20 pounds of drag. You have got the line identifier here on the side, so you know what line you're using at all times. Like mine is set currently at a 17 pound fluorocarbon. We've got our brakes inside and out, all around absolute workhorse of a reel. We've got the wind grips. These are the teardrop wind grip knobs. So these are the old style, not the new style ones. All right, so let's dive into the rod now. So the Lew's Pro TI rod, we have got the wind grips down here. It's actually got the fat wind grip down here. And I say that because I don't think a lot of people know that the Pro TI wind grip is actually fatter than a lot of other ones. I don't really know why it is, but it is a little bit fatter down there when you grip it, but I think that's really comfortable, especially with the way that I hold my rods. So I really do like that fatter wind grip down there for flipping a jig around. We've got the constant contact with the rod blank. You guys know how big I am on that. I harp on that a lot. I like to be able to feel the blank. We do have the lock up top. It is a plastic lock, but it is rounded at the top, so it's not as rough on my finger when I've got it up here. If I'm here or here, wherever I am, I like it to be rounded off so that it doesn't rub my finger raw. This is the LFS XS blank, very, very sensitive blank. You feel just about everything with this thing. It's titanium nanotechnology, really nice. I believe it's the same style as the Signature Series and the Elite rods. They've all kind of got that nanotechnology in them, which is really cool. So the specs itself on the rod, it is a 7-foot medium heavy fast action rod. And I get a lot of people ask me why such a short rod for a jig rod. This is dedicated to my shallow water jig fishing. So I'm going to fish this in like 10 to 12 feet and less. So this is for, you know, skipping around docks, skipping around wood, stuff like that, kind of more up shallow. If I'm gonna go out real deep, really it's like that 15-foot mark and more, I'm gonna go up to like a 7'2", 7'3", 7'4" medium heavy fast action. And then once I get past a 1/2 ounce, I actually go to a heavy rod. So that's what this rod is for, just kind of up shallow, skipping, roll casting. And it allows me to be able to control my cast a little bit better. I got a lot more accuracy with a 7-foot rod versus trying to do that with a 7'4", 7'6" rod. So another thing about the reel that I love that a lot of people always ask about, of course, is the hook keeper here. I get a lot of people always ask me where do you get that hook keeper, and it just comes on the reel. So I forgot to mention that when we were talking about the reel. Line. This is 17-pound Strike King Tour grade. All of my jigs have tour grade fluorocarbon on there. Does it really make a difference, tour grade versus Contra? Probably not. but I use tour grade on there just because my jig rods are always on the front of my deck 365 days a year. I only put them away for when I'm traveling, so I always have a jig rod on my deck, and it's out there for a long time. So I feel as though the tour grade has more longevity than the Contra does, just personal opinion. So 17-pound Strike King Tour Grade, and of course the jig that I am flipping around is the new Angler Tungsten Ballistic jig. Beautiful little jig that I helped create with Angler Tungsten. It's the first tungsten jig on the market that has this massive beefy hook in it. All of these other jig companies are putting these little finessey hooks in there, and I'm bending them out, and that's not what I want in a jig. I want something that I can absolutely lean back and crack them with. So Tim Manning and I set out to design exactly what we wanted in a jig, and here it is. This thing is an absolute monster. It's got that nice beefy brush guard on there so that you don't get hung up in the garbage, but you can still set the hook really easily. It's got a double metal bait keeper in there as well. I have not lost any baits or had my pants pulled down yet, so I really like that about the bait keeper. And then the head has actually got a recessed eye into the tungsten head, so that actually gives it football jig like properties, so really allows it to come through rock and cover a lot better than just a traditional ball head jig. So that is the first one. That's kind of my primary jig rod, especially from, I'd say, I don't know, April to November. That's my primary jig rod. And you're gonna ask why here, but I get that, but I'm fixing to tell you why when we grab the next rod. So this is my other jig rod combos. So this is the original Hyper Mag. I haven't switched to the new Hyper Mags on the jig rods yet. I've got the new Hyper Mags for a bunch of other stuff, just not on the jig rods yet. So this is the original Team Loose Hyper Mag, 7.5 to, or is this an 8.3? This is an 8.3 to 1. 8.3 to 1 gear ratio, 20 pounds of drag, internal, external brakes as well. It's got the bait keeper on there too, and it's also got the line identifier as well, so that you know what line you got on there, 17-pound fluorocarbon. So I can show you guys a little bit more about that in another video if you want to hear about that. Wind grip, teardrop shaped as well, carbon fiber handle. It's pretty much a lot like the original Pro TI, same shape, body form, same handles, a lot of the similar stuff to it. Drag stars are different, coloring's different of course, and then the Pro TI of course has that titanium coating on it, to where the Hyper Mag has a different coating. I can't tell you what the coating is because I don't know, but the reason why this rod is my primary jig rod all during the winter is because this coating on the Hyper Mag does not get cold like the Pro TI and even the Elite TI do. So that's why I've switched to so many Hyper Mags, because a lot of people have their preference of when they like to fish. You know, a lot of people love the spawn, a lot of people love the summer, a lot of people love the fall. There's not a whole lot of people that love the winter, but winter time is my primary time that I love to fish. There's nobody out there, the fish are getting less pressure, so I just really enjoy going during the winter. So it really mattered to me when I was grabbing my jig rod and my hand was so cold, going to something that just doesn't get cold, and that's the Hyper Mag. Both Gen 1 and Gen 2, they're the same. Neither one of them get really cold in the winter like that. So it's really something that I've kind of taken to lose. I've asked them about it. I've talked to a lot of their pros about it, and they all agree that's what the Hyper Mag is just special for. It does not get cold in the winter. My first time ever realizing it, was it Mark Menendez or Scott Suggs? I don't remember who it was. I was talking to one of them, and we brought that up, and it was Scott Suggs and Mark Rose is who I was talking to, and they both agreed that this reel is the reel to have in the winter because it doesn't get cold. So that's enough about the reel. It's also got the bait keeper on there. I think I showed you that already. So let's talk about the rod. You guys don't really see me use this rod a whole lot. I don't talk about it a whole lot either, and I don't really know why, but nonetheless, it's here. This is the Signature Series. It's a Kevin Van Dam Signature Series, and he actually calls it a spinnerbait target casting rod. I'm sure it'd be great for a spinnerbait. I don't like it for a spinnerbait, but I'm sure it would be great for it. I like a 7.3 for spinnerbait. So wind grips down at the bottom. These are the normal sized wind grips compared to the Pro TI. I'll show you the comparison real quick. You can tell there that the Pro TI is a little fatter. Like I said, I don't know why it is like that, but it is. So the cool thing about this jig rod is the butt is actually a little bit shorter than the Pro TI is, only about a couple of inches, but I do like that for the leverage portion of it. So wind grips, top and bottom here. We come up to the lock, and the lock is EVA foam. You guys know how much I love that. So when my finger is on there, it is very comfortable. In my opinion, I think they should all be like that. The Custom Light, they all perfect with that foam up top, and that's a big reason why I've been switching to a lot of Custom Lights is because of the foam up here. So the rod is a 7-foot, medium heavy, fast action. It is very, very similar to my Pro TI. Really the biggest difference is the fat grip down here, and then the rod blank itself is a different rod blank. This is a focus rod blank, more nanotechnology stuff, but very, very similar blanks. So and then the bait, yet again, angular tungsten, ballistic jig. This is the black and blue version, and that's actually a Strike King rodent that I'm throwing on all of my jigs right now because it is still cold out. I like to have a bait with a little bit less action on it, and we don't have a chunk per se, so I take the rodent, and the rodent these are very chunk-like legs on the rodent, so that's what I use as my wintertime bait, and I like it a lot. All right, guys, there it is, jig combos. You know, I've got a couple others that I do use. Like I've got a Mach 2 in there that I use. I got a Mach Crush in there that I use, but those are more of secondary rods, just having multiples tied on in case I'm to break these off, or I have an ungodly backlash in them or something, and I just need to hurry up and grab another one. That's what those are for. But these are my primary jig rods, Hypermag with a Signature Series rod and the Pro TI combo. They're just all around smooth. I love how they feel. I love how they fish. Guys, if y'all like these videos, do me a huge favor. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications. That'll let you know when we post new videos. Also, guys, we're trying to get our numbers back up. Share, share, share. Share this thing out for me as best as you can. The fishing videos, share those out as well. We're going to try to do all kinds of different things. We're going to try to get out to different spots. I know I'm probably going to, well, I don't know if probably, but we're going to try our best to go to Dale Hollow as long as the weather holds up. We're probably going to go to Dale Hollow with 1 or possibly 2 of my pros. So that'll be really cool as well to be able to go out there and fish with them. So like, comment, subscribe, notifications on. Take care, everybody.